Hey everyone, this is Noah. I'm seeing so many people are trying to build skills, learn AI, in particular learn N8N. I have over 10 years of experience as a developer. What we're going to do to build our first automation is I want to build a system where it checks an email and it auto replies and then it leaves the reply in my draft. Pretty straightforward. It's going to cover off on a couple core principles and it's actually pretty useful, right? That's like a pretty useful thing to have. When you log in, this is what you're going to see. Okay, so if you've never used this before, essentially a workflow is just a sequence of steps. And the nodes are basically individual steps and the steps get linked together. Think of a series of dominoes. This is the first domino that gets hit and it gets knocking other things over. How do I know it's working? Now it says account connected. This is green. Fantastic. Okay, test message. Did I leave my shoes at your house or your apartment? Thanks. Joe. Send. And let's see if this gets picked up. Execute step. So you can see that it got 50. Why? It said get the last 50. In this case, it's essentially just getting the previous 50 and here's the first one that I got. So what I want to pass this into is an AI. I want an AI to automatically reply. Every API call, it's not very expensive. It might be like pennies, but you do need to pay for it. And anytime you want N8N to actually be powered by AI, which that's going to be everything we're covering, you're going to need this account. If a bunch of you say, hey, I got stuck on the OpenAI part, totally understandable. I'll record a separate video, but I have a feeling you can either figure it out or you might be able to search their own documentation and go into those details. But you do need to have an API key. I'm going to grab mine now. This expression is defined. It's working because it's green. But what I really want to do is I want to test it. So what should I expect? When I click execute, I'm expecting that this pre-data is going to run. It's going to get passed into OpenAI. It's going to log in with my account. It's going to send a request to GPT-4o Mini. And the request is going to say, analyze my email. And then it puts the email in. All right, let's see what we get. I'm going to hit execute. It's making this API call to OpenAI in the background. And subject, found my glasses. Hey, Sam, no problem at all. I'm just glad you found your glasses. Dinner was a blast. Let's do it again. Catch you later. Best Noah. It just wrote that for me. Okay, so this is like a pretty basic example, but you can see I now have an AI responding to my email. Here's the problem. I don't want it to send emails. I want it to write drafts and I want to be able to approve them. I see AI as in service to me, my assistant, my helper. I want it to save time. For me, what I like about AI is I think of it as driving my car. My hands are still on the wheel. Maybe I have GPS, maybe I have lane centering, maybe I have radar cruise control that's controlling the distance between cars, but my hands are on the wheel and I can intervene. I don't want fully autonomous yet. I'm not quite there. All right, so what do we have? We have a trigger. Anytime a new email comes in, it's going to check once a minute. And if there's a new email, it's going to write an auto reply. I'm going to unpin this data. This is good to go. Then it's going to pass it to OpenAI. And in OpenAI, it's going to say with the user prompt, please analyze the email, share a draft response, keep the tone casual, friendly, and informal. In the system prompt, it has a little bit more direction. You're my email response assistant. You write short, direct emails without any fluff, filler, emojis, or exclamation points. You always return only JSON with your response. This looks good. We're going to unpin this. Then it's going to create a draft, and then it's going to email me and tell me it created a draft. Okay, so I'm going to save this, and I'm going to set this live, and this is now fully activated. Got it? Okay. And now if an actual email comes in, this is all going to happen on its own. Gmail is going to get triggered. OpenAI is going to get the message. It's going to give us a response. The response is going to be turned into a draft, and then it's going to email me and say, I just did all this. Take a look. All right, so let's test it. I'm going to open up a different email account, and I will email this from a second account. Okay, so here's my other email account. I'm going to call this morning run. Hey, do you still want to go for a run in the morning? I'm free tomorrow starting at 7 a.m. What works on your end? And I'm going to send. Let's take a look. Morning run. Hey, do you still want to go for a run in the morning? I'm free tomorrow starting at 7 a.m. Okay, so this did not work. Let's wait another minute. Possible the streams crossed and it just didn't happen yet, but I did not see that one do anything. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, so this was the last time it ran. This one, okay, and then it just ran again. Let's check again. Okay, it just needed another minute to run. So it did what we expected. Check your drafts. I just started. Okay, this is not something I'd want to leave running because it's sending me all sorts of these. You know what? It's even going to do it recursively. So now every email it gets, it's going to respond to. This is not a good long-term setup. This was like an initial test. I'll quickly talk through what I would do to improve it, but I wanted to keep this really simple so that you could just learn where do I start, what are the core principles, we connect to Gmail, etc. Okay, so here's the morning run response. Hey, that sounds great. I can do 7 a.m. Looking forward to it. I don't know what it's going to write for me. Maybe I'm not free until 8, but it's convenient that it at least started this response, and now I can go in and say, oh, actually, I can do 7:45. Let's meet at the track field. Looking forward to it. And now I can actually send it. Cool. Okay. Now we have this whole recursion. It's sending and responding, and then it's going to keep auto responding to itself. So now it's writing a response. Check your drafts. I just wrote a new one that needs your review. Hey, thanks for the heads up. Okay. So that's not a great solution. So why is this a problem? It's that basically this message is always going to trigger this trigger, and it's going to be like chasing its own tail. Another thing that you could do is you could create something on a timer that basically every time it writes a draft, you could somehow make a note of it. Maybe we write it to a Google Sheet and we just record a log. And then once an hour, it checks the log, it sees how many new rows there are, and then it sends you a summary email saying, hey, you just received blah, blah, blah emails. Let me quickly recap. So if you've never used N8N before, hopefully watching this video, you have some sense of how do I get started? What can I do to create my first workflow? How do I trigger this domino effect, right? How do I execute the workflow from start to finish? How do I press play and execute a single component of it? In the component, what is it? What am I seeing? I have my inputs on the left, I have my actions in the center, I have my outputs on the right. When I get a successful, or actually I can try to get a successful output. If it fails, I can iterate, I can make changes, I can try again. Once I have something I like, I can pin it, persists, and then I can connect additional nodes. And the output from node 1 becomes the input to node 2, and so on and so forth. But anywhere in that chain, you always have access to everything prior. So even if it's directly getting OpenAI and we're accessing that in here, we can still access the previous things as well. So this covers a lot of core principles. And in terms of where you go from here, if you wanted to actually build an email responder, we're going to do a second video that's a much better solution to this. And this is something I do use. So I'll just give you a little bit of a clue to where we're heading. We're going to do an email classification. So the email classifier basically figures out in OpenAI, hey, does this need a reply? Not all emails need a reply. Does it need a reply? It does. Okay. If it needs a reply, now write a reply. That's a much better system. I don't know about you, but probably 80 or 90% of my emails don't need a reply. They're newsletters, or I have kids on soccer teams and it's just, hey, FYI, go to this field. I don't need it to auto reply and say, thank you so much for sending the field information. All right. So we're going to go in and build a much more sophisticated workflow next, but hopefully you feel good and you feel like, all right, I get how this sort of works and I have a lay of the land and I built some simple thing. And even though this is super basic and foundational, you have gotten past that 0 to 1. All right. So this is an incredibly powerful tool. All the things we're going to be building, they're always going to have, I think we're going to stick with OpenAI just for consistency. I know a lot of people prefer that platform, but you can plug it into pretty much anything. But we're going to put these logical AI API calls into these flows so that we're working with AI to think and to decide and to do these really important actions. All right. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If it wasn't clear, what is Skillet AI all about? We're trying to show you individual steps. We're trying to make it easy, and we want to explain. I'm not just trying to show up, oh, I figured this out. I want you to understand it, right? So I want to walk you through each steps. I want to show you that even though I know what I'm doing, I still ran into mistakes. I still ran into issues. You have to put your problem solving hat on. That's normal. That's par for the course. But really, most importantly, I want you to understand the why. I want you to understand the principles so that you don't just build what we did here. Whatever you think of next, you feel confident to go build it yourself. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully we'll get to do lots of cool projects together. Cheers.